How does Arizona replace some of its production? What are the pros and cons for Carter Bryant leaving, and position by position for Arizona football?
You are Locked On Wildcats, your daily podcast on the Arizona Wildcats. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. I'm your host, Mike Luke. This show is brought to you today by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $250 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet hits. That simple, that easy. Get in on FanDuel, my friends. Okay, now, we got a lot to get to this show. Like I said, we are going to talk Carter Bryant. We are going to talk about some all-time what-ifs for Arizona. Those are some fun ones as well. We're going to talk some Arizona football, ceiling for next year, a lot of different things. But the first one, though, that we need to talk about is Carter Bryant. And I think the one thing with Carter Bryant is, this, is that if he goes to the NBA, he's going to be a first-round pick. Now, is he? I think he's got better talent than where he is supposed to be drafted, and that's something that you got to take into account. Now, the other thing too is that when you watch him, you can also see too that he can get a lot better. That is something that I think you really have to take into account. With Carter, that his game is predicated on 3-point shooting and defense right now, but he can do a little bit more than that. Obviously, he can handle the ball. He can show that he can handle the ball. He can do a little bit more stuff. He can basically kind of show people that he can do a little bit more than just being a 3-and-D type player. But again, that's not. It's different strokes for different folks, I guess, is the term that is used, and we will find out. But if you're an NBA GM and you draft somebody with a 23rd pick, it's a lot different. Your priorities are a lot different than if you draft somebody with the 8th pick, which is, I think, what Carter would probably be if he came back. That is because if you're an NBA GM, nobody cares if you missed out on the 28th pick. That's probably going to be part of the deal, anyways. But if you come back and you are, say, the 8th pick, they've got every reason to invest highly in you because they don't want you to fail. Because if they fail, then the person that picked you failed as well. You don't want that to happen. So I think if Carter comes back to the U of A, he's going to make a lot of money, obviously. And I think that puts him in a better position to be able to, I think, really captivate NBA folks and what they can, and with what he can bring to the table. So we will see. But I'm, like I said, I would love to see him back. If he goes pro, you definitely wish him nothing but the best. He is but like we've been saying all week, he's also the difference, I believe, between being a top 12, 14 team in the country and possibly being the best team in the country. Arizona with Carter Bryant is absolutely loaded. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. He is he's just a difference maker extraordinaire. Okay, now. So we'll see. Now, this was put out by my guy Prim on Twitter, and I think it's an interesting point here that I'd like to talk about a little bit. What are some of the all-time what ifs for Arizona if the players that left unexpectedly came back? I think that's a great question, and I'm going to put it out there a little bit, and we will see. The first guy that comes to mind is Gilbert Arenas. Gilbert Arenas left for the NBA, and he was a top how do I put this? He was like the 32nd, 33rd pick in the draft. Had nobody really expected him to leave. As a matter of fact, when RJ left, when Michael Wright left, when they all left, I think everybody thought that it would be Gilbert Arenas and Jason Gardner with Gilbert back for one more year, and Gilbert would have led the nation in scoring. I mean, Gilbert had that kind of potential to him, but obviously he didn't come back, and Arizona was less for the wear. Is probably the best way that I would put it. But he went off and, within 3 years, he was averaging 25 points per game. So it made sense. But I think Arizona, had Gilbert Arenas come back, that would have been a nasty team. That would have been an incredible team. And I think that's one of the ones that you look at and you're like, yeah, what could have happened? Then the other one, too, that I think really hurt Arizona was Will Bynum. If Will Bynum had stayed and he was the point guard against Illinois instead of Shakur, I think Arizona's cutting down the nets, because a lineup where you got Salim and Will Bynum in the backcourt with Hassan Adams, Radenovich, Fry, etc., that's a really, really good team. That was a what if as well. NDEB is another one that you're like, man, if he had showed up on campus, that would have been really nice. But be that as it may, Carter coming back, though, like I said, I can't really blame Carter for leaving. But if Carter came back, I think that Carter would be somebody that could pick up some of that void felt by Caleb Love. Now, Caleb Love, again, I know that he was a lightning rod during his time here at the U of A. I get all of that. But at the same time, he was also a he was really good, and he was the one that when Arizona needed buckets, they went to, and he finished his career off incredibly strong. And I'm really happy for the kid, because he caught a lot of arrows while he was at the U of A, and a lot of arrows that I just don't think were deserved. He is like I said, he has gone on, and he is Carter Bryant, somebody, though, if you get him back, that definitely helps alleviate some of that scoring loss. Then you go with Braden Burries as well. That would help alleviate some of that scoring loss. And then somebody like a Dwayne Aristotle on the perimeter, we're going to be talking about. Those guys all kind of make a little bit of difference when it comes to Arizona and what they can do. So we'll see. I think Koa Pete's going to be another one that's going to average about 15 points per game, something like that. And we'll see how this all does play out. But I do believe that Arizona's got a pretty good. Ceiling for next year. If Bryant comes back, like I said, I think they're as good as any team in the country. Now, there are some things. You look around the Big 12, and you look around the Big 12, and you kind of see, you're like, okay, what are some of these teams that you should really keep an eye on? And you look at it, and Houston, obviously, I'm a little bit more down on Houston than some other people are, just because of the scoring, and I don't know how they're going to necessarily do all of this. BYU, I'm huge on. I think BYU and I think Texas Tech are both going to be awesome. Those are two teams to definitely keep an eye on. Arizona, though, is going to be just fine. Kansas is a massive wild card in all of this one. But Arizona, like I said, I think the big thing is that their talent, if you bring back Carter, pretty much takes a back seat to nobody. Now, you could say that, BYU brings in DeBansa. You got Richie Saunders. You've got Cato coming back. You're also bringing in Robert Wright. That's a really, really, really good team. But the end of the day, I'll take Arizona, because I think Arizona is I think the continuity that Arizona would have would be very good. And I also think it will be Tommy Lloyd's best team, but I believe those would be the two best teams in the Big 12. I don't look at the, like I said, I know everybody's really, really big on Houston next year, and I get it's the culture thing when it comes to Kelvin Sampson. I understand all of that, but you lost Cryer, who was 15 points per game. You also lost Uzon, who was a big, big loss from a scoring perspective. I never really saw him becoming that. I never really saw him becoming the kind of player that he is that he's developed out to. He is like I said, he's a really, really good player. And I just don't know that you're going to be replacing that with Pop Isaacs, who by all accounts is a nut job. Everywhere Pop Isaacs goes, they can't wait to get rid of him. That's something that I think you got to keep in mind. And, you're banking on guys like Sinak to be really impactful, which I could totally see them being. But I don't know. Like I said, I just look at that scoring. I look at that input right there, and I'm a little, like I said, I'm a little circumspect when it comes to Houston. We will see. But Arizona, like I said, if you get back Carter, you're going to be able to replace that scoring. If not, you're going to need Burries to be 13 a game. You're going to need Bradley to be 13 a game. You're going to have to pick up somebody in the portal that's going to be able to score some buckets. And I think you're also looking at it too, and you got to know that Koa Pete is going to average a lot more than Trey Townsend. Again, not really breaking any news there. So we will see. Now, everybody knows this as well. And again, when Carter does announce we will be going live with an emergency podcast, everybody knows that Arizona is also a football school. So let's talk about it. But first, Upwork, my friends, Upwork. Okay, here's the deal. Scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more. Experts ready to help take your business to the next level. Upwork gives business flexibility by connecting them with top freelance talent across multiple industries, including IT, AI, web development, and marketing. Whether you need extra hands for a projected or long-term partner, they have got you covered. Again, they help you find the right talent. If you need help with a marketing campaign, Upwork can help you with a freelance expert who delivers incredible results. Again, all of these things, it's making your life easier. Check it out. Fast and easy hiring. Posting a job is free and simple, and within a day with multiple qualified candidates to choose from. Cost-effective growth. Instead of hiring full-time, Upwork helps find affordable top-tier freelancers to scale your business efficiently. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That's Upwork.com to connect with top talent and grow your business today. Again, they're kind of your one-stop shop. Let them help you grow your business so you can get focused on growing your business. Thanks for keeping it locked on, Wildcats, and making this your first listen of the day. I am your host, Mike Luke. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about Arizona football. All right, I've got a very easy set of expectations for Arizona football for next year. These aren't hard expectations either. I want to be entertained. Last year was unbearable for me for a variety of reasons because, first of all, Arizona was boring. Second of all, they weren't good. If you're going to be bad, I want to be entertained. That's that simple. With Rich Rod, even when they had the 3-7 year, they were entertaining. They would still put points up on the board. Rich Rod would melt down on the sidelines. It was still a fun time. Last year's team was just boring across the board, and they were bad. I don't want to see that anymore. So let's just go position by position, talk about kind of what their ceiling is. Now, first of all, I look for Noah Fafita to have a nice bounce back season. I really do. Last year, listen, you had T-Mac, I get it, but you were set up for failure. You had an offensive coordinator who had no clue what he was doing in Freudian slip. In Dino Babers, no clue at all what he was doing. And you saw that throughout. He was relieved of his duties within 3 games. Didn't get much better under the tight ends coach, Matt Atkins. You've got a real offensive coordinator in here in Seth Dagey now, and you watch him, and he's a breath of fresh air. The offense is it's tight, it's ready to go, and they're getting the ball out quickly. That is a huge aspect of all of this, is that they're getting the ball out quickly. Last year, Noah Fafita running back 14 yards to throw the ball 3 yards upfield. No, that was annoying. I don't want to see that anymore. You shouldn't see that from this year's team. I would be stunned if you saw that from this year's team. Also, I think the wide receivers are going to be pretty darn good. I like Chris Hudson a lot. If Arizona's got to hold on to him because there's a lot of teams that want him, but Arizona's also sold him that you're going to be the number one wide receiver, and there's a lot to take from that. If you're the number one wide receiver, there's, like I said, that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. He is like I said, they can spread the ball around a lot with him because I like Javin Watley. I also like besides Javin Watley, I also like Luke Wysong. I think Chris Hunter. It's a good receiving core, and it's got an interesting combination of guys who can catch the ball, quick hitters, also bigger guys, smaller guys. It's a nice little unit. And then the running backs as well. I like the running backs. Kedrick Risano, I like a lot. Ishmael Mahdi, Quincy Craig. That's a nice little three-headed monster. And I think all those guys are good. Now, my main problem is, and people talk about this all the time, and they're right, the offensive line. The offensive line terrifies me. I know you're going to put Chuba at guard, which is fine. And you're going to put the Hawaii kid either at center or guard. That's fine. But man, I mean, you got Rhino at one of the tackles. I get it. At one of the other tackles, you're probably going to have Ty Buchanan or Bounds. I'm not sure, but that entire unit terrifies me because Noah's a smaller guy, obviously, to begin with, and they've got to get the ball out. And that's why another reason, too, that they're working on getting the ball out early. If you get the ball out early, it makes things a lot easier for people, and it allows Arizona to really kind of, I think, set up a little bit of a trajectory that, hey, here's what we're going to do. We need to be able to get the ball out, and hopefully that works. I mean, we shall see. Hopefully it works. That's my one concern on the offensive line on the offense is the offensive line, because I think across the board, they're pretty good everywhere else. But again, I think the offense will be significantly better just because you also have an OC in here that knows what he's doing. And I think the players are kind of, revitalized in that suit. So again, put up points, entertain me. This is about me at the end of the day. I want to be entertained, and that's a big thing for me. So we'll see. Now, some of the other guys here where it's going to be fascinating to see is the defensive side of the football, and that's Danny Gonzalez has his work cut out for him on the defensive line. They really like what Deshaun McKnight has brought. We shall see. Smaller transfer from a smaller school. You lost Chuba, obviously. You got Isaiah Johnson back. You've got Trey Smith, so that's good. But like I said, it's the defensive line, just like the offensive line, worries me. And I know, trust me, I get it, that if your lines aren't very good, that's generally not a sign that your team is going to be very good. So, but there's other good players around there. Linebackers are interesting. Chase Kennedy has shown last year that he was a guy that could get after the quarterback a little bit. I think that you're going to see him used in that way. Tay Brown, another guy that I think you're going to see used that way. But we will, like I said, we're gonna see. This is going to be an interesting one to follow because there's a lot of question marks here for Arizona. The one thing though that I do like about this group is I do like the secondary. I like the secondary a great deal. You just got to be able to. You just got to be able to hold on to the secondary, and that's another thing. Obviously, you got Dwayne Aquina moving on. That's something to to keep in mind. But you got Traden Stukes, who love Traden Stukes. Think he'd be a great nickel anywhere. Think he could play in the NFL. You got Dalton Johnson as well. You got Genesis Smith. You've got Javion Cole. You've got the kid from West Virginia. You've also got Marquise Groves-Killebrew. I like the secondary. I think the secondary is going to be good. It's just, what are the people in front of them going to be able to do? Are they going to be able to help out the secondary? And I don't know. That's the question that I think a lot of people have that I don't have the answer to, and I don't think anybody's going to really know. Now, special teams, you've obviously got to make up for losing an NFL kicker, but overall, like I said, I think the team will be better than next year. But what is the team's ceiling? Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. Locked on, your team every day. What is this Arizona football team ceiling? I'm going to say 6 wins. If Arizona can get 6 wins, that obviously gets Brennan more time. And then you're like, all right, well, you're bringing back some players. Maybe you can make that jump. That's going to be that's the goal. I think that you want to get to 6 wins, and you want to be entertaining in the process. You want to be able to put points on the board. Again, that is what I'm about. I'm about making this a fun environment and something exciting. Arizona should be able to do just that. We will, like I said, we shall see though. Now, the other thing too with this squad is, what from an offensive perspective, yes, this team should be better. I think just listen, you lose a generational player like T-Mac, I get all of that. But having somebody that in there calling plays that knows what he's doing is actually going to be a good thing. I think the running back room is going to be upgraded. I liked what as a backup last year. I thought listen, you lost your Corey Krosky Merritt, and that kind of changed everything. But overall, Quali Conley was okay. This year's team is going to be more dynamic in that running back room. That's going to be an exciting thing to watch. And like I said, the receivers. But so I think the upside, I think the ceiling is 6 wins. They've got some out of conference wins that are, or some out of conference games that are definitely winnable. They've also got some in-conference games that are going to be definitely winnable. And while I love being in the Big 12, let's not pretend like the Big 12 is some gauntlet that you can't possibly get through. That is like I said, that's something that Arizona should be able to navigate. So we will see. If you make a bowl game, considering everything that's gone on, that would be a huge, huge win for the University of Arizona. Listen, tight ends, obviously something that this coaching staff has wanted to use. Sam Olson isn't good enough. I know the coaching staff loves Sam Olson, just not good enough. You've also got, but also I think with Kellen Ford coming in, maybe you're hoping that guy can be the freshman that alleviates some of that. We shall see. But 6 wins, I think, and obviously the basement is being really bad again. I don't know that Arizona could get worse, but who knows? Now, want to talk a little bit about Becky Burke real quick. Becky Burke talk about hitting the ground running. She has brought in 4 high-quality transfers, starters, including one Conference Player of the Year. I'm going to go on record right now and say this, that I think that Arizona women's basketball will be as good this year as they were last year, if not better. That's where I am at with Arizona women's basketball. I think this can be a dynamic unit. I really do. Now, again, last year's team lost to NAU twice and lost to Grand Canyon. So you got to factor that in. But overall, I think this is going to be a pretty good team, and I think it's going to be a pretty solid team for Arizona. Watching them too, I think the other thing too that I think this is going to be a hungry group. This is a group that is going to be like I said, this is going to be a group that they're going to be motivated. You're also bringing in Julie Brazzi. Love bringing in Julie Brazzi. A little bit of a blast from the past. Not sure that could have ever happened under Adia, but I think the vibes are going to be better too. And I think that's something that you just got to keep in mind. The vibes, that kind of stuff matters, man. It just kind of stuff matters. Adia was kind of a door jam. People didn't like being around her, and nobody was really sad to see her go. Arizona's, I think, in a decent spot. Also, I think DRF is investing more than people think. That's something too to keep in mind, is that you look at the investment from DRF. I mean, the coach and staff, $900,000 for assistants. She's making $675,000. This is a person, the DRF, this is a prideful person, and she knows what Adia is saying about her. And I think that's something that with DRF, she knows, and I think she's going to go out of her way to try to make Arizona women's basketball good. That's an exciting part of all of this. So we will see, but so far so good. I like Becky Burke. I've been impressed by Becky Burke. Now, tomorrow we're going to be talking more about Carter. I would imagine a decision is going to come down here sooner than later. I don't believe that you can really kind of drag this on much longer. And, like I said, I think the coaching staff feels that either way, they are going to be in a good position with Carter. They obviously want Carter back because, again, I think you can compete for a national championship if you got Carter Bryant on that roster. That is a loaded roster where you would have McDonald's All-Americans at the point guard, the shooting guard, the small forward, the power forward position. It would be really, really good. So we'll be talking about that. Also, we're going to be talking about the football spring game on Saturday. That's going to be another one that's going to be interesting to watch. We'll be there, obviously breaking it down, and then I think after that, trying to get some good vibes going. Then we're going to talk a little bit of Arizona baseball as well, a little bit of Arizona softball. But right now, good time to be an Arizona Wildcat fan. Tommy Lloyd has destroyed it this offseason. I think DRF made the right move in getting rid of Dia and bringing in Becky Burke. And I think, like I said, football can't be any worse. And baseball and softball doing well as well. But as always, very much appreciate you all making Locked On Wildcats your first listen of the day. I'm your host, Mike Luke. Bear down, back the A, Locked On Wildcats, your team every day. We'll be back with you tomorrow.